Cornwall, part of the Celtic tribeland that stretches right down the rocky coasts of Western Europe, has its own native boats too.
That's an old-fashioned lugger. That's one of the old luggers. Years ago, that's all they do. They used to sail. They had no engines. I think my father was one of the first to have engines in the loo. He had a boat called a Progress, similar to this boat here.
The Cornish lugger was perfectly suited to tight, rugged havens and is almost identical to the Chasse Maree of Brittany.
I had a mate of mine called Pengelly, Peter Pengelly. His father was called Bert. He had a boat called the Blossom, and we used to go to school together, and we'd call for one another, like, you know. And if the pilchard boats were inland, we'd always aboard the boat, so we was born in boats, really. And I know we used to go to school full of pilchard scales on our shoes, like, you know. We used to be told off by the headmaster.
This is a Cornish pilchard. It's really a fully grown sardine, 4 or 5 years old. For centuries, the pilchard fishery has been the mainstay of Cornwall. Long before the last war, the pilchard fishery was on the decline, and this, in its turn, had its effect on the Cornish fishermen.
Well, the pilchard fishing was the main industry of Cornwall, one of the main industries, more than mine and intending. But before the war, the pilchard boats used to go out from Lou and O'Para, Navigazine, and places like that. We never had no echo sounders or nothing like that. The only thing we had on the boat was a compass when I started with my father. And you rely on the birds, the gannets. And the old fishermen could prove that 9 times out of 10 the fish be going towards the wind. By the work on the gannet, they watch the birds, you know.
There was something in common too between the pilchard netters and the other hunting animals of the Cornish coast. Peregrine, dolphin and fishermen all relied on the ancestral hunting skills of driving their prey into a corner. And as for the gannets, they had an almost symbiotic bond with the fishermen. The birds guiding the boats towards the shoals, then feeding off the fish boiling round the nets. No wonder the gannet's name in Cornish, Zedder the arrow, has a mite of respect as well as vivid description in it.
What they used to do, they would put the pilchards in pits and cure them in salt. And then, after they've been in the pits and cured in salt, they put them in the wooden barrels. My mother's job was the top row of the fish was made as a flour. And when they took a lid of the barrel, you had it like a flour. Then the pilchards were transported or shipped to Italy.
The changing tastes of the Italians, combined with dwindling shoals, led to the collapse of Cornish pilchard fishing. So the coastlanders went in search of new prey, and what they found were sharks and shoals of tourists, and if they were lucky, the two together. Commercial big game fishing came to southwest England. It wasn't to be one of the more edifying episodes in Cornwall's recent history.
I started shark fishing myself in the middle 50s. But as far as I've been told and remember, there was a Brigadier Conter. Now he was a well-liked and well-known person here. Well, he was with Montgomery, as a matter of fact. Brigadier Conter tried to catch one on a rod. That's how it started. It was easier work, I'll be honest with you. You had your nights in from sea for a start. And it was a change. You had a change of life, in a sense. You had an easier life. You was looking after people, and they was all right, you know, it was all right then. You went out to sea all night long, and you know, and plus the fact your wife knowed your hours. You went out to sea in the morning, and you was back in 5 o'clock.
It looks sadly as if the lesson of the pilchard decline just hasn't been learnt. Sharks too are being fished out, There are less species seen here, less overall numbers, and barely a big fish, a trophy fish, left at all.
Now, all the shark fishermen in Lou are trying to preserve the fishing industry in the shark world. They release as many sharks as humanly possible. We don't take them in at all if we can help it, not to skip them.